With us now live, Democratic Senator from New Jersey, Senator Robert Menendez. He's author of the new book, Growing American Roots, Why Our Nation Will Thrive as Our Largest Minority Flourishes. Very good to have you on the show this morning, sir.
Great to be with both of you.
Tell us about the book.
Well, it's a book about Hispanics in America, trying to change the nature of a lot of the current talk, where it seems that some of our talk show hosts think we have all just arrived just recently. And it goes back to the fact that Hispanics have been part of the country actually since before the country was formed. When Bernardo del Galvez, the governor of Louisiana, helped stop the British advance on Washington. When Admiral David Farragut, a Spaniard who fought for the Union in the Revolutionary War, led the naval charge and coined the phrase, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead," to the first the first person to die in Iraq on behalf of the United States, a Hispanic who was not quite a U.S. citizen yet.
Wow.
And so those are just examples in one dimension of patriots, but also about sports, entertainment, the economy, our contributions to the country in so many different dimensions. So it's an effort to give the nation as a whole a view as to who the Hispanic community really is, how long we've been here, what our contributions
What's the percentage of Hispanics in America right now?
It's 45 million Americans before next year's census.
So it's about 15%
of the nation.
What about New Jersey?
In New Jersey, it's about 9% of the state.
Yeah. What's the politics right now of the Hispanic population, Democratic versus Republican?
Well, in the last election, they overwhelmingly supported Barack Obama. They leaned clearly more Democratic.
2004, Bush did pretty well.
Bush did pretty well. I mean, you know, he had a relationship with the community.
Well, I think because I know Jeb did great in Florida, George W. did great in Texas. But what are the issues that matter?
Well, clearly, issues that matter to all Americans, but in many ways disproportionately affect the Hispanic community. For example, we want all of our kids to achieve a world-class education, but among Hispanic children, they're still the greatest percentage of Americans who drop out of school. So focusing on how we meet educational excellence and reduce that dropout rate is incredibly important, not just to the community, but to the country.
And
when a third of all of the nation's school children will be Latino in the next 10 to 15 years. It's a series of challenges. Some of them are social and economic. You know, a lot of Latinos ultimately are struggling at or near the poverty level. Even though we've had great successes in upward mobility, still a fair universe at that level, and they get their kids as soon as they're legally able to work to help sustain the family. So looking at that economics, looking at schools, where many of them are going to, and how we have school reform to make sure that the quality of those schools improve is incredibly important.
Boy, you know, talk about school reform. We went up to Harlem and went to the Harlem Village Academies, and it was a charter school. And it's remarkable. Some of the most economically disadvantaged kids in Harlem, all Hispanics or African Americans, 100% proficient in math in 8th grade after coming in 5th grade. Being unsuccessful. And
there's another school like that in Newark, Robert Treat Academy, and it's overwhelmingly Hispanic and also African American.
Is it a charter?
It's a charter school.
Do
does exceptionally well.
You support the things that this principal was able to do? Hire the teachers she wants to hire, get rid of the teachers she doesn't want to, especially in the more economically disadvantaged areas, because we're obviously moving towards education reform. Shouldn't that be a big part of it?
Well, I think that the publicly chartered schools are doing great jobs, and they have a lot of those flexibilities, and performance is what's necessary at the end of the day.
Should public schools have that same flexibility to reward excellence?
I would hope so.
Yeah, great. That is awesome. And let's talk about New Jersey. Not awesome. The politics right now in New Jersey.
What's going on?
Well, you mean the state is an awesome state.
The Garden State is an awesome state.
Okay.
But the politics in the Garden State, a little tough. John Corzine, in effect, calling poor Chris Christie fat in his commercial, saying he's throwing his weight around. Why is this race getting so dirty?
Well, I mean, look, the bottom line is I think the governor's got a great story to tell about here. We met enormous challenges, started to undo the fiscal nightmare that both Democrat and Republican administrations had before. But the bottom line is when you hold yourself out to be, of the highest ethical standards, and then you see a series of actions that belie that. When you're a one-trick pony and that one trick is exposed, I think you dramatically fall in your standing. That's what's happening to Chris Christie.
You say John has a great story to tell. My God. New Jersey's an economic basket case right now. Unemployment the highest in the region.
Listen,
number 50 when it comes to taxes. Things aren't going well in New Jersey.
The bottom line is that we just had a major company move to they're coming to New Jersey. Thousands of new jobs. We have a governor whose budget is $5 billion less than when he took office 4 years ago. How many governors can say that? And yet education spending rose with reforms included. So there's a lot of good things happening.
You think things are going well in New Jersey?
No, it can be better, unquestionably. But then again, this governor is facing the challenges that governors across the nation, Republicans and Democrats alike, are facing in terms of a national recession.
No doubt about it. Mike.
Senator, I'd like to get back to the issues that you raise in your book that you were just talking about with Joe. Public education, bilingual education, a help or a hindrance?
Well, if you do it right, it can be a help. If you do it for transitional purposes, but not on dependency purposes. And I think the Hispanic community understands very well, as we can see by the number of adults who are trying to get into English language classes because they understand that social mobility and economic opportunity in this country comes from the command of the language. So, in programs like in my hometown of Union City originally, we had children out in 3 years, and then English dominant, but also with the ability to speak Spanish, which opens up your opportunity to 21 countries in the world to be able to sell American products, services, and goods.
And what goes through your mind when you're driving around New Jersey, you're campaigning for Corzine or whatever, and you turn on the radio, the demonization aspect of talk radio, criminalians, Hispanics, they're all here illegally. What goes through your mind when you hear that stuff?
Well, I bristle at it because I think about the people who I mentioned before who have fought and died for this country, going back since before the Revolutionary War. I think about the 3 Nobel Prize winners who have been Latino. I think about the nearly 11 astronauts for NASA who have been Latino. I think about Eva Longoria, on TV, or Major League Baseball, which you can't field the team without a significant part of its roster being Latino, and a $1 trillion domestic marketplace impact on the nation's economy. And so I look at all of those incredibly positive attributes of a community and see the demonization of it by certain characters who believe that that's the way they make their ratings.
All right. Hey, Senator, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Good luck
Senator.
with the book.
Thank you.
Growing American Roots. We greatly appreciate you being here, and good luck with it.
Thank you.